smile like you live, it's a blessing for me. Today the dreams will be on me. Cause I'm having a wonderful day. Hey, hey. I'm having a wonderful day. The smile like we live is a blessing for me. Today the dreams will be on me. Cause I'm having a wonderful day. Hey, hey.
All right.
Wonderful day.
Welcome, y'all, to Peep Game TV and Keeping It Real Team Collaboration. I'm your man, Shadi Ali, a.k.a. SRD, with my man, Jay Sean, a.k.a. Mr. F. Love.
Hey, hey, hey.
What's good with you, my brother?
Oh, long day, man. The words, you can't say the words, health and wealth too many times. Um, we lucky. Every day you wake up is a good day.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people don't wake up, and I mean, I talked about this plenty of times on my last 4 years doing podcasts. Is that you got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself. That's why I say that is because I had a scare last night with my blood pressure. That's why I'm still in my robe and everything. I didn't even get dressed. I
Oh,
just
okay.
jumped up out the bed and took a shower and got on here with these lovely people.
Well, share with the people what you ate. What you think got your blood
Well,
pressure high, man?
I got high blood. I suffer from hypertension and pre-diabetes, and I wind up eating some Chinese food uh Wednesday
Right.
Wednesday evening, and you know how the trays be, they be full of rice.
Okay.
You think so? I call myself cutting it down. So I cut it down. I ate half of it, which was no problem because usually, I could eat Chinese food occasionally because I don't really
Right.
get
Right.
the fried chicken. I get the rotisserie chicken.
Right.
But since I didn't eat it all Thursday, the next day I decided to eat the other half of it, and that's where I messed up by putting all the preserved the mustards on it and the soy sauce and the duck sauce, and I mean I still ate it. I felt pretty good,
Right.
and then all of a sudden I wind up getting that people got high blood pressure. They know about that wicked headache that you think is normal. You think is nothing, but it's a headache. And then whenever I get heart palpitations and they won't stop, because everybody get them, but whenever I get heart palpitations and they won't stop, I know my blood pressure is high because high blood pressure squeezes your arteries together. So it's like blood runs fluid through your body, but when you got high blood pressure, it tightens up, so it's hard for the stuff to go through. So, in all reality, that's probably the same thing that happened with your heart and the other organs of your body when you got hypertension. So, I guess that um uh perpetuates my heart to skip, palpitate.
Right. Right. Right.
So,
Being
so at
fast, trying to get some blood circulating.
so at my age, whenever anything goes wrong with my heart, I go to the emergency room because I you don't mess around with your heart. And when I went there, the first thing they do, hey Ramona, the first thing they do, they take your blood pressure and your temperature, and my blood pressure was high, like and it was like, off from there it's off to the races.
Okay.
So so you just gotta. It's easy for your blood pressure to go up, but then it's hard to get it back down. So it ain't like I could bring it back down in in an hour or nothing like that. So now I gotta work my way back down. So like
Mm.
today, I was sipping out vinegar.
Right.
I had some oatmeal. I had oatmeal for breakfast. I had some avocados for lunch, and then I had a salmon for dinner. So I got to work my way back down.
Okay. What about beets? Do you eat beets?
No, everybody tells me about beets.
Yeah,
Everybody beets,
they're pretty
beets.
good. They're pretty good for your blood pressure. They're
Yeah,
pretty good.
everybody. But what is it? Beet
It's
juice?
beets. Nah, you can actually get the beets themselves. You go to the store, you get the beets, you wash it up, peel it off like it's a potato almost, and then you boil it. Then you can cut it up.
Yeah.
Then you can cut it up and basically eat it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I've done that back in the day. They used to have the beets inside of the can.
yeah. That's what I
With
thought you was talking about.
right, nah, but you can get the fresh beets. You get the fresh one. Boil it, cook it up yourself, and eat that. I mean, and young people, a lot of young people probably don't even have a problem with high blood pressure, or they never even check to find out if they do have it.
Right, right, right.
So that's
Yeah.
the beauty about being, the being young is the gift of being able to maneuver carefree.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because you feel like you're invincible. Your body don't have any aches or anything like that. So you feel invincible.
Yep.
The beauty about getting older is you, for most of us, we get wiser and you become more aware of things that you overlooked when you were young.
Yeah.
So it's a place for both old and young. We actually need each other because in a perfect world, the young people would be like the older people bodies, and the older
Right.
people would be like the young people brain. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So you would be
Yeah.
thinking for the young person while the young person do all the work to make the things happen. That's the beauty of having the old and young connected the way it once was.
And trust me, you want to see sick, go to the emergency room. You want to see some sick stuff going on, just go to the emergency room, and you will see some sick stuff. You will see some sick stuff going on in there, and it's not a nice sight. So it make you fortunate enough that we even alive, even healthy to come out here and do this show.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a blessing. It's a blessing, man.
Yeah. Being
But I
grateful and
feel
being
better
thankful.
though.
Yeah.
But I feel
I'm
better.
glad you feel better though. You know what I'm
Thank you.
saying?
Yeah,
Because
I feel.
we had a partner that you remember Sly at 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? Went
Yeah,
on a vacation, came home, had a massive heart attack. That's how Sly passed away. You know what I mean? So
and I saw him like a week before that at Hooters,
right,
and I hadn't seen him in a while. Yeah,
yeah, and it was his heart. His heart gave out on him, and so we had. It's necessary for us to be mindful of those type of things, man.
most definitely. Most. What's going on with you though? How was your week?
My week was productive, man. You know what I mean? Productive. That's what I strive to have my weeks be productive now. To make sure I do some things that I choose to do that's gonna, take me to a different level. You
Yeah,
know, so that's what it's about, and I think everyone should adopt that. In their life, that you want to do some things that's going to take you to a different level, things that's going to make better, a better version of yourself.
right, right.
That's all. That's all it's about.
Well, let's jump right into it then, man.
Yeah,
You
yeah. Let's
usually
get
got
into.
questions for me. I
Yeah,
got
yeah, yeah.
questions for you.
Okay. Well,
um,
you if you want to fire off first, you can fire off first. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I fire off first, but I also want to touch before we get off. Remind me, I want to talk about Shannon Sharp. You heard about that with Shannon Sharp?
Nah, so you'll be putting me up on something. You'll be putting me up on
Okay,
something that I ain't hear about.
okay. This is a big problem that we talk about a lot amongst each other and families and barbershops, street corners, at jobs and everything. Even amongst family members, we talk about this. But I want to see how you answer the question. Um, why do you think it's difficult for most of us to unite and work together?
Mm. Good question. Good question, man. I would say there's multiple different reasons. Because as we did say, on a previous show, that the Way-In brothers have found a way to make that happen, to work together. And I think what it is behaviors. One of it is the our behaviors. It's like it's difficult to work with a person who don't want to play their position, so to speak. Everybody can't be a leader. Somebody has to be a follower. We can't have all leaders. No, the old saying, everybody can't be a chief. Somebody got to be an Indian. That's one thing. And the other is, I don't think people really take the seriousness of keeping your word to a person. If you tell a person that you're going to do something for them, and they're counting on you to actually do that thing for them, and you forget, or whatever reason, whatever may happen, and you brush it off and don't let the person know ahead of time that something came up that made it difficult or impossible for you to do it at that time, that breeds distrust. You know what I'm saying? So once a person start distrusting you, it's hard to work with somebody that distrusts you. Then you have people who are takers, as we spoke about the past week, who only want to work with you as long as they're benefiting, whether you benefit or not. That's about three reasons that I can come up with right now off the top of my head.
Um, Ramona said, "Do you want me?" Ramona said, "Do I want her to come take care of me?" Ramona, that she always listen every week. She's a in the nursing field.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah,
Well, that's who you
of
would want
course.
to take care of you.
Yeah, you're right. That's who you want to take care of you. Um, that working together thing is that cuts so dearly with me because at the age we at now, it's the same question and it's the same answers that we've been saying, for as far as we can remember. And no matter how you cut it and no matter how you slice it, it's just always gonna be the same. Some people gonna stick together and some people not. When I was in the emergency room last night, I saw I was two Arabic guys. I couldn't see who they was with, maybe their mother or their father or somebody, but they was two Arabic guys. And the doctor was a little small Arabic woman. And I watched how she corresponded with them and how she corresponded with everybody else. And all cultures they they not only they just don't stick together when as far as financially, they stick together with everything all across the board. You know what I mean? They helping each other all the way across the board. Um, and it's good. It's okay to see, but when you really think about it, it's kind of disheartening and a little sad that that people you belong to and people you associate with and people you've been with can't can't do the same thing as they do. You know what I mean? And it should. I don't know, man. You want to say, well, that's the way they was brought up, or that's just in their culture, or but I don't think we even if we get the answers to it, I don't know if it's really possible to ever happen. I just don't know. Maybe our grandkids might see it. Or so. Now
You know,
I'm not saying
right,
everybody.
right, right. I hear you. You know, I don't think even with them, it's all of them.
No, it's
It's
not
just
all of
it's
them.
right. It's just enough that we are able to see it. You know what I mean?
Right,
We're able to see it because we don't notice it in ourselves as much. So when we see it in others, we gravitate towards it.
right,
You know? So I mean, and then there are differences, as you said, there are cultural differences. Their upbringing does play a part in it. Now, when we came up, there was more unity. So we wasn't always this disconnected as we are now.
right,
There were times where neighbors were really neighbors. Neighborhoods really had neighbors. You really interacted with the people in your neighborhood.
right,
Okay, then it started becoming just the hood. When it started becoming the hood, the neighbor went out of it. Now you no more neighbor. Now it's just hood. Now it's just street mentality taking over, and not
right.
only in the street but in the houses as well. So that's part of it too.
Yeah.
That I,
Um,
that I didn't think of when you originally asked me the question.
it's like you just said, it's not all of us. Not by a long shot. It's not, but it's a lot. It's a lot of us that got the wrong way of thinking, and it goes back to a long time ago when you say a lot of people are still walking around mentally dead. If you search into the lives of many people and what's going on, it's a lot of people out here that's like, for example, put it like this: I know you're not in Patterson, but you're from Patterson. You can drive down the street, some of the worst streets in Patterson, and see people hanging out on the corners, and it's like they don't got a care in the world. They laughing, they joking, they happy, like they don't got a care in the world. And you could be riding down the street with an abundance of problems, like I got to pay this bill tomorrow, and my kids bother me about this, and I got this going on. So I don't want to say it's not like that in other cultures, but I don't really know. And I think that unless everybody get on the same page, or most people get on the same page, that we'll always have that problem. So it's probably more people that's not on that page than is on that page. And the people that's not on this page is not, and the people that could be on that page is not. And the people that will be is not on that page because they can't get the other people to get on that page. I'm talking about to unite.
Right. Okay.
So so it's a worldwide problem among us. You know what I mean? It's not like a sheltered little thing. It's a worldwide problem. I mean, you could drive from city to city, from state to state, like you said. You're gonna see people hanging out. You're gonna see liquor stores. You're gonna see check cashing places, and you're gonna see it's just world.
Fast food
Yeah,
restaurants, all that. Right.
fast food restaurant. It's worldwide, and that's why one thing I respect. That's one thing I respect about the Muslims, and that's one thing I respect about the Jehovah Witnesses. They go to the streets. You know what I mean? And me personally, I believe that's what how it's supposed to be. Well, we in the internet world now, so you can do things on the internet, and it's just like going to the streets. You probably can reach more people on the internet than walking around to the streets, but it's just a worldwide problem. That's all. Far as uniting, it'll take a long time before we have another Malcolm X. What's my man name? The one
Martin
in
Luther
Africa.
King,
Martin Luther King. What's the one from
Nelson
Africa?
Mandela.
Mandela, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. I mean, well, the list goes on and on, but
Right.
they gave it a good fight. And the only way, unless you're ready to put your life on the line, it seemed like when the people put is ready when people were ready to die and put their life on the line, those are the people that make the biggest impact on their culture. And
Yeah.
everybody ain't ready for that.
Well, absolutely. Everybody's not. Everybody don't love themselves and the people that much. You know what I'm saying? So that takes a special kind of love for yourself and your people.
Yep.
Because you love yourself so much and you love your people so much, you're willing to risk it all to make a better life or an attempt at making a better life for the people. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. But I got another question for you.
Go ahead. Fire
Um,
away.
why did you leave Christianity?
Uh, well, with Christianity, the main issue that I had was the worshiping of Jesus being God. I I I was able to comprehend the point of Jesus walking around uh, in the flesh, of being God to an extent, especially to an extent where he was totally submissive to the will of God, so God was working through him. I was cool with that.
Right.
However, what I wasn't cool with was the fact when the preacher and they start to say that Jesus was God. And then when you read in the Bible, Jesus is praying to God. So if he's praying to God, then he can't be God. If he's saying that, you know, Father, why have you forsaken me? You know what I mean? And he was,
Yeah.
so that meant, okay, there was an entity that was higher than him. And that entity put him on earth to show that entity's power, to show the power. Because if we all came from nothing and the entity that created us, that we call God, created Jesus from the womb of Mary, that's nothing. That's nothing for that type of power, because that type of power had enough power to create itself out of nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you get that deep with it, so the fact that God or Allah or whatever you call them, you planted a seed inside the belly of a woman who supposedly never had sex and brought that seed to existence. And the Bible said that, he was going to show, and the Bible in the Quran, that he was going to show his power through the child. So that's the part that bothered me. And then I asked the bishop, these supposed to be like the top ranking people in the Christian, authority. His answer to me was, I asked him, I said, is Jesus and God the same entity? He said, uh, theologians don't even know that answer. So, they go to the theology school to become a.
Right.
So he's saying that theologians don't even know the answer. So if you didn't know the answer, how come you just got finished preaching that Jesus was God if you didn't know the answer? You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
If you didn't know whether it was true or not, why would you tell the people that it was true?
Right.
So that once he said that to me, I was like, I can't, I can no longer take this religion as a religion for me. And I'm not saying that don't work, because when you read the Bible, if people follow the Bible rather than the preachers, man,
Yeah.
Christians would be doing fine. A lot of times they get caught up in what the preachers say and don't read the Bible. Then they, following the preacher rather than reading the scriptures for themselves and letting it get embedded into their hearts. You know what I'm saying? And they living it out in that manner. That's
Right.
that's what they're missing. They're missing that part where they're actually living it out through their everyday life. That's the part of religion that I think, as religious people, we get caught up in the rituals rather than the lifestyle of being kind to one another, being honest, you know, uh, worshiping the higher power with all your heart, that kind of stuff. You know, that's that. So that was my reason, brother.
Hey, that's a good reason. That's definitely a good reason, because it always comes a turning point when when something shifts you from one thing to another. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Um. So yeah. So that's a good reason. Um. One more question for you. Then you can fire away at me. When you were single, I believe that's the question. When you were single, wait 1 second. When you were single, what's something that would turn you off towards a woman?
Uh, when I was single, one of the main things that turned me off towards a woman when I was single was a woman who felt like, if they were, just the fact that you were giving them some time, that you basically had to pay for their company. You know what I mean? They want you to take them out to dinner, take them to a movie, all of that kind of stuff. That used to be a major turnoff to me, especially when I didn't even know the person. I barely know you. So now, rather than us go somewhere where we could really get to know each other that doesn't cost anything, now you telling me that I need to spend money to get to know you, and that was like one of the major turnoffs to me, other than a woman who every other word come out of her mouth was a curse word. You know what I mean? Other than that.
Yeah. I know you always I know you always didn't like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so
um,
other than that, go ahead.
Ramona said her grandmother was a Jehovah Witness and her father was a Muslim, a Grand Master. That was almost like me, Ramona. My mother was a Jehovah Witness. My father was a Baptist, but he was a Grand Master in the Masons. So we got similar situations. Um,
Peace, Sadiq.
but you know that is a turn off. You know, money hungry women, gold digging women. Because somebody sent me something earlier this week. It says why does a man have to be financially stable to deal with a broke ass woman? Somebody text me that, and and I mean that's a good statement because most of
Yeah,
the
that's
time
something to
women
think
they
about.
looking for men with money when they don't even have money. They want a man with a nice car and they don't even have a car. They want a man with a good job and they don't even have a good job, or they want a drug dealer, somebody splurging money when they not even willing to splurge money. So you know what I mean. There we go again with that culture thing, that upbringing, or just seeing it, you
Right.
know. But anyway, um, did you
Yeah,
have any
yeah,
other? Did you have any questions tonight?
yeah. What are your thoughts about, a woman who already have children and she meets a guy that she believes is Mr. Right. And this guy may not have any children and he wants to have children with her.
What do I think? He
What
should feel or she should feel.
yeah, well, both really, because she may have two children or three or whatever, and she may be okay and don't want any more. You know
Oh,
what I
okay.
mean? Now the guy may, and he may have two or three, but now he's saying he wants to spend the rest of his life with her, so he wants one with them together. You know what I mean? So they can have the children that they had outside of each other, and at least a child or a couple of children together that they could say brings the family together.
Well, at the age I am now, I gotta keep it real with you. That's a question for, like, I would have to know, like, their age range,
Well,
because if they
20.
20 between,
Let's say 20 something and 30 something. Let's
well,
say like
if they in their 20s, then I
peace,
mean
Neff.
she's still fertile.
Right.
She's
All right.
still able to have babies.
Okay.
Um, and if he want to have one, I mean, it would be a big piece bite to chew off of, because she already got kids and he already got kids. But man, when a man wants a child with a woman, that's a big thing.
Right.
That's when you want a child with somebody, because you don't. How many girls do we meet in our life that we actually say, I want to have a woman with her? Like, like, I know my age that I'm at, right?
Right.
and and I can't even.
Can I pose a
I,
question?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Got little Joaquin on the other line. Little Neff right here.
So when it comes to that, you got to more or less look at now we're talking what age are her children,
Right.
because that brings conflict, and it's not intentional conflict. It can be unintentional, because when a man when you deal with a woman with children, you know and you want to start this relationship and start this, start growth within your own development with her children are going to actually play a part in that, depending on what their age is. You know what I'm saying? And if you have, teenage or grown children, especially the younger men that's out here today that's been coddled by women and don't have no emotional maturity, when it comes to that, now you're dealing with, younger, a younger man that has his own, situation that's gonna, put strain on that. And I'm only speaking from certain experiences. That's gonna put strain on that relationship. So when dealing with a situation like that, you have to be. It depends on the conversations that's held between the actual male and female, the man and the woman, when developing that relationship. Because if boundaries are not set, then you're gonna find yourself 3 months, 6 months into a relationship finding issues with her and her children. You have to understand something. When you involve yourself with a woman that already has children, you're taking a lot. You're taking on a lot of baggage. Um, you're thinking pure logic over complex emotion. Most men are pure logic over emotions. Those emotions are actually going to feed off of the woman that they were already with. So there's a lot of emotional maturity that has to be developed in a person before you can even step into that realm.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Who is
So
that? Who is that?
that's little Joaquin. Kathy and Joaquin's son.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
You're absolutely right. I like to use the word emotional intelligence.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? You need some emotional intelligence to navigate through that type of situation.
right.
Go
but
ahead. Go
but
ahead.
look, but ask him how many women. How old is he? How old is he?
43 on the 20th.
43 out of 20th.
How many women has he met in his life that he said, "I want to have a baby with you," or didn't say it to, even if he didn't say it to her, he said it to himself. Have it
Okay,
been more than three?
He heard you.
okay. So here's the thing. All right, I have been married for 20 years. Been with my wife for 22.
Oh, okay, man. All right.
Hold on, wait. Now let me go. Within those 22 years, I have been married to two different other women. Now, with that being said, I started the relationship and wanted to have children. Um, but again, dealing with women that has children already, especially teenage children. No, not children old enough to cultivate and they learn you and you learn them. These are young adults that already have their mindset. You know what I'm saying? They're already in a routine. They already have what I would say that learned behavior. You know what I'm saying? That acceptance that their mother have or the unacceptance that their father didn't give or whatever the case may be. Even if I want that with that woman, I have to look at every variable that is in that basically comes with her to see if I want a child to grow up in that same environment. You know, you have to be comfortable in your own insanity. And with that being said, is you have to be comfortable with every situation because now you're the man of that house. So being that you're the man of that house, everyone falls up under you. And if you're being undermined in some way, that child that you bring in here is going to learn that same levels of lack of manners and lack of respect for you by looking at their half siblings or whatever that's around you, and they're gonna try you at some point. It's not as um, practicing Islam. Islam prevents that. For the simple fact is the children belongs to the father. So with the children and not the children belonging to the father, when a woman gets married, she's supposed to allow the children to go with their father so she can enjoy her life. The only thing that belongs to us as men is our children because that's our legacy. You know what I'm saying? That's what we leave behind, our sons and our daughters. And we can say we don't put no stake on no woman. We don't put no claim on no woman because a woman can leave and marry. But our children is ours. Those are our offsprings. So we we have to know what we're engaging in, who we're dealing with. Is that person, does that person either meet my crazy or her crazy itself? It goes over my crazy. Can I deal with that? And can I deal with the crazy that she's already instilled with her children? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of factors have to be weighed out. And as men, before, I just, same instance, I fell for a woman, fell in love with her, want to have a child with her, and the whole nine. I enjoyed that, and it gives me more offspring, things of that nature, and it's a it's an opportunity for our families to grow, and we can build and grow our community back. But in the same token, the hurt and whatever trauma that has come with that woman, and then with the children that's around it, you still got to deal with all that, man. So it ain't just about wanting to have that child or having that conversation. You have to look at every variable and then how that's going to affect or benefit you when it comes to dealing with your already your if you have children already, how that's going to blend in with that. If she has children already, how that's going to blend in with that. The level of respect that her children have, that's going to be given to you, how they respect the things that you say, if they're going to be able to, either respect you as a man and fall in line with certain things, especially under your roof, or you're going to be tried and played, and then you're being taken out of character because you have a young man that's not your child that's trying to play you, and ain't no man is going to sit there and accept that when he's paying all the bills. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of variables, a lot of
Yeah.
factors that we look at.
No, no, no. I agree. No, he I agree with what he said. I just when I said when I was talking about well, he been married for a long time, so um I was just thinking about when you said that if a woman came to a man that had children and a man came and he had children, what do I think? That's why I was asking not the question to him, but to any. I was just talking out loud, saying that it depended on the age range because now first of all nowadays it's more than financial thing bringing children into the world. It's it's a lot more than that. It's about educating them and raising them right and you know making sure they go the right path in this world. So for me, I would have to it would have to be a lot of I would have to really sit down and talk to the woman, and let her know that I got children and she got children, and in order for us to have another baby, it would have to be a lot of stuff talked about before. I'm talking from the age I'm at now.
Right,
It
right.
would have to be a lot of things that we talked about, that we build on, and that and we really had an understanding on, before I brought another a seed in the world right now. I wouldn't try to stop. Like I wouldn't try to if I was married or wanting to get married, I wouldn't like really just try to stop, the civilization. I would, it would just be a lot of things we had to build on. But you didn't tell us what you thought, Shah.
Well, I mean, Neff made a good point. He brought some stuff in where okay, you brought in the age of the two individuals.
Right,
You know what I mean? Neff brought in the age of the children because now, grant you, the two individuals can still be pretty fairly young.
right.
You can mess around. They could be in their 30s and have teens. So
Yeah, yeah,
now,
yeah.
now you're dealing with someone who has developed a so-called adult personality. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Now you got a 14, 16-year old, even an 18-year old, even sometimes 13's a borderline, depending. You know what I mean? They're dependent on the environment. But when they
right,
start getting 14, 15, 16, now are locked into certain behaviors that if you're not able to maneuver in a manner that's suitable for the situation, and the woman allows you that flexibility, that's another part. She has to be willing to allow you that flexibility to kind of, for lack of a better word, chastise them. To what to give structure. That's a better word, to give them structure, because a lot of times, you know, depending on your upbringing, some people are more lenient when it comes to structure. Some people are more stringent when it comes to structure. But most men, our nature is to strive to have structure. The thing is, it's necessary for us to be mindful that sometimes we can overdo the structure. So we have to be kind of flexible as well with how we structure, because we can end up being almost like tyrants.
Would
But go ahead.
would you make a baby at your age right now?
It had to be some remarkable circumstances, man.
You also got to remember, Uncle Shah, you also got to remember, man, you're not only setting structure for the household and for the wife, but you're setting structure for another man's child. And you don't know how that's going to,
Mm,
how that's going to play a part as well. Because,
mm,
some men, I haven't met too many guys that sit there and be like, all right, and that's our fault. You know what I'm saying? As men, you know what I'm saying? We can't be like, all right, well, this is the structure and can't discuss that. See, that conversation has to be had with not just you and the woman, but then you have this man that has his children, whether either he's in the life or he's not in the life and things like that. But your presence still has to be known. You still have to make that mark. And you still have to have that conversation with him as well.
mm-hmm.
And that's just a respect factor that we lose within ourselves when dealing with other men. Like, yo, look, I gotta give you respect. These are your children. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna show you. I will show you the same respect that I would want you, a man, to show me if it was my children. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And some of us can accept that, like you said, that emotional intelligence. Some of us are still running around here thinking that we young and we gonna tee off as soon as they don't say nothing to my kids. You
Yeah,
can't say
yeah.
nothing.
Get on some rah rah stuff, right?
But that ain't my fault to raise. So at the end of the day, man, you gotta we have to have these conversations, and if you can't have that conversation, that two-way conversation, then that three-way conversation, and vice versa on the woman's side, and you have children, that same conversation with your baby mom, your ex-wife, or whatever, in order to let you know, this is who's gonna be in our children's life. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're gonna have to do, and this is how we're gonna have to interact. This is my man. Don't step across the line. This is my wife. This is my wife. Don't step across the line. We'll do this and we'll do that. And blah blah blah. You have this respect. You have that respect. And at the end of the day, we move it like that. We can't even move like that most of the time. So we always end up in sometimes on commitment. We always do. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to have all those conversations. And that's just that's my outlook.
No, you absolutely right. Normally, the case is in our communities, a lot of times the father's completely out of the picture, completely not doing anything, barely even see the child
Yeah.
until sometimes when somebody pops up in the picture and starts striving to do something that themselves didn't want to do. Now they want to try to step up and play daddy or play the father. That often happens in our community. So I agree with you that yeah, the conversation needs to be had. And that's where the emotional intelligence comes along with both the man, because as Muslims, it's our duty to speak man to man. You know what I'm saying? Man to man. And the women speak women to women. If we were able to do that on a higher level, we would have less chaos out there with the children.
Now you talking community.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Yeah, I
because you can't have look, you can't have community without unity. You got that's why our community is where it's at because we're not going doing the proper work and going through the proper channels to make things happen. Like once a man, what changed about our community was when you had a baby, it was your responsibility to take care of that baby. It wasn't your responsibility to stay with the woman, but it was your responsibility to take care of those babies. Now, guys getting off the hook with that. They're being, pushed to the side. And then another aspect of it is they got three babies with Mary, then they go make three more with Sally. You know what I'm
understand.
saying?
Okay, but it down see now that's a different subject right there because now is that his fault that he run around? That is partially his fault. He run around here putting everything down. But in the same token, yo, a lot of these women got okay. This is what you want. You choose it. You know what I'm saying? So being that you choosing that now, and now that it doesn't work out in your favor, now it's like I don't understand that. I got boys that got multiple kids. They do everything like devil. And myself, I'm sorry, but my oldest is 19. You know what I'm saying? And I've been with him since birth. Period. Not throwing shade on anybody, but I know what it takes for me to stay with mom. You get what I'm saying? I know what it takes for me to. I got four of them. I know what it takes for me to stay with mom. Now, at some point, your woman got to choose whether she going to continue to go this route and continue. And a lot of it is because we're not taught to be men anymore, and women are not taught to be women anymore. And it's like we fall short, and we're just picking up this superficial glory of being seen with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Or the wedding day being a glorious day, but you're not thinking about the wedding behind it. You're not thinking about the consequences. You're not thinking about what's to come. You know what I mean? We talk about having having two different families come together and then a man and a woman decide to have a child, but in the same token, what is that child grandkids gonna have at the end of the day? How we structuring that? You know what I'm saying? So we fail to be the people that we're supposed to be, and it's because we're not being taught. Yo, I just put something on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? And I said it. The first thing I was talking about, I let them know that for men, every decision that we make, either it's gonna affect everyone around us, either directly or indirectly. No matter what decision you make, the people that's around you are gonna be affected directly or indirectly. That was the first thing. Then the second time I was telling the sisters like, yo, at the end of the day, it's your emotions. We are we have so many of our women um, that are mentally, emotionally. I would say emotionally. I won't say mentally. I would say emotionally scarred from a lot of different things or a lot of different men or a lot of different situations, be it private, be it young age, be it early. So we have two jacked up individuals without any type of structure or any type of learning of how to be a wife, how to be a mother, how to be a father, how to be a man, that's coming together and trying to raise children, bro. Like, you can't get nowhere like this. And we continue to make mistakes. Like you said, there's a lot of ones out here that's dipping and not taking care of the kids. But that's why, man. We got to get back to the manners that our grandparents and our great grandparents taught and things like that. It's bugged out because the same manners that they taught me, I learned in Islam and I developed more in Islam because it's the same exact. Be kind. If you're going to treat your woman with kindness. Make sure you're being just. Not fair, not just fair, like, but being just to a person. You know what I'm saying? And if you know you got kids by this woman, man, yo, you don't have to deal with her. You deal with your kids.
no. You look. You're absolutely right that we have we've gotten away from traditions. We've kind of said we didn't have traditions, but we did. We've had traditions, and it was traditional to before you even got involved with a woman to meet the men, meet the family. Now we've let it fall to the wayside where there's babies and you don't even know the guy. So there's a lot of traditions that we kick to the wayside that we are going to have to start enforcing again. And you made a good point. Yeah, the women do take some responsibility in the men that they pick. However, men have a tendency to gas women up. You know what I mean? To come in there with their representatives saying what they're going to do and living up to it prior to that baby being born. You know what I'm saying? Once the baby's born, then the real them come out. And now the woman then got caught up. Hence why you said there are so many women with emotional issues. They have these emotional issues because they've been played, they've been lied to so many times by so many different men to when the right man comes around, they're so emotionally raw to the fact that they can't even open up enough to accept the love and the guidance from the right man.
No freedom to love. No freedom to love. You have to be free to love. And it's hard, from my experience, it's hard to love a broken woman. It takes so much patience and understanding and cultivating and reassuring to learn to try to love a broken woman. Because there's a lot of women that around us that's broken. I mean, even in our own family, bro, it's hard to love a broken woman. And not for nothing, the ones we try to do so much and we try to fix so many things, we can end up breaking the ones that we have by trying to fix problems that we create. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a lot of growing, it takes a lot of knowing, and a lot of conversation, man. And everybody's starting to get this self-awareness, this self-consciousness about, you know, what they want out of relationships, what they're looking for, and what they're for, and things of that nature. And some of it be I cool to listen to, but a lot of it's not. In the real world, you can't really get that. You can't just make that decision. You're choosing that. You're going off of these things, man. But it's just a platform. Don't be a platform. Be real. At the end of the day, like you said, with your representative, don't go anywhere with your representative because at the end of the day, the truth shall out. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna come out. Yeah, it's gonna be done. What's gonna be done is done. So you can't. That honeymoon phase is gonna end. And when that honeymoon phase ends, are you going to be able to stand next to that person and go through the trials and tribulations, the ups and downs, and everything else, and still be able to function away, go through that away from their children, and then come back and function as a one unit in front of the person, bro?
Hey, you absolutely right, brother. I mean, this has been a remarkable conversation based on that question. And overall, what it says is that we as a community have some work to do on ourselves individually because that's where it starts at first.
Right.
We It's necessary for each of us to start working on ourselves individually and then allow other people to give you guidance. You know what I mean? Even sometimes constructive criticism. You know what I mean? Constructive criticism is different from plain criticism. People have a tendency to criticize. When you criticize a person, and you don't have nothing to come behind it that's going to uplift them, then it's just criticism. But when you criticize a person's, and most times it's our behaviors and the way that we think. So when you can say, look, the way that you talk to your children, you know, you too harsh. Now, I'm not telling you that what you're saying isn't right. I'm saying to you, find a more tender way to express what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Something in that nature. Because now it's like, when if you're doing something like that, or even with your woman, you know what I mean? If your woman talking to you real harsh, you know what I'm saying? You say, look, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not open to the way that you're saying it to me. You know what I mean? Because delivery makes a difference. As in the Quran, it says for us to speak a word that is kind and true. You know what I'm saying? So kind don't mean screaming and cursing. Kind means you find a method of being able to be soothing even when you're being firm. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I think we as a people, a lot of us have problems with because we can be some harsh people towards each other. Go ahead.
Yeah, big time. I gotta cut out, Sha.
All right, it's about yeah, it's that time. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Words, it just takes silence. Sometimes it just takes you to be silent, and especially with women, let the emotions out, be silent, and then when the situation is kind of look, that's when you sit down and you grab that hand, that physical touch, eye contact, and verbal communication. Yo, I understand what you were saying, I understand what you was going through, but not for nothing, I can't receive that well with you coming at me like that. Now, in order for me to actually listen to you and have a conversation with you, we're gonna have to find a different way in order for you to express that. Because expressing it like that, it's not gonna get nothing but silence from me. And anytime I go silence, you'll know. See, now you already know the action, the reaction, and what the consequence is gonna be. So now you're not going back and forth, but you already know this. So now when it's time for you to calm down and relax, now we can sit down and have a conversation. We guide that. We have to install that as men. We have to do that. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it don't.
Hey, yeah, you're right. You got to stick to the guns, though. You got to stick to the guns. That's all. You know what I mean? But Neff, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
You
been a
know what I'm
pleasure.
saying? So, we do this every week, man. Every week at 8 o'clock, man. All right.
Definitely. I'm out here with you. I know now, so I can set my time.
All right. I love
All
you,
right,
Neff.
peace.
All right. Alaikum salam. Rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Yeah, it's
And
good
thank
when
you
we
all
get
for watching.
it's
It's
good when
been,
we
it
get
was,
good dialogue like that.
yeah, it was great having you guys.
Everybody know I'm gonna take a little break and then I'm gonna be on my Facebook Live at Randy J Sean Jackson, and then I'm gonna be on my TikTok uh at J Sean 763 in about I say about 10-15 minutes. Take a little break, but it been a pleasure. Make sure y'all stop back next Friday. Um, and until then, everybody stay healthy, stay safe, man.
All right. And thank you all. We appreciate you. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Until next week, wish you all love, peace, and happiness.
Peace.
Peace.